There is a version of this life that gets shown online constantly. Sunset cocktails on the aft deck, mornings on the water with coffee and no agenda. The freedom to untie the lines and simply go. It looks effortless. It looks like the answer to everything. And honestly, a lot of it is real. But there is another version of marina life that nobody really talks about. Not because it is terrible, not because it ruins the dream, but because it is harder to photograph and harder to explain to someone who has not lived it. Today we are going to talk about that version. 5 things that nobody tells you before you move aboard. 5 things that will either confirm this life is exactly right for you or save you from a very expensive mistake. And I want to be upfront about something. These insights come from research, from the Liveaboard community, from the people who have actually done this and been honest enough to share what they found on the other side of the decision. This is not theory. These are the things that show up again and again when real liveaboards talk about what surprised them most. Stay with me all the way through, because number 5 is the one that I think will genuinely change how you see this lifestyle, and maybe how you see your own life. Hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Let us get into it. Before we get to number 1, let me ask you something. What do you actually own right now that you could not live without? Not what you think you need, not what fills the shelves and the garage and the storage unit you have been meaning to sort through for 3 years. What do you genuinely actually need to live well? Most people have never seriously asked that question. Marina life forces the answer. Number 1, you stop owning things and start valuing freedom instead. Nobody warns you about this part. They tell you about downsizing, sell the furniture, rent a storage unit, figure out what fits in the cabin. They make it sound like a logistical exercise, a checklist problem you solve before move-in day. But here is what actually happens. The first few weeks aboard, the absence of your stuff feels uncomfortable. You reach for something that is not there. You notice the empty space where a bookshelf used to be. You wonder if you made a mistake. And then, somewhere around the 3-month mark, something shifts. You stop noticing what is missing. You start noticing what remains. The things you kept are the things you actually use, actually love, actually need. Everything else was just weight, physical weight, mental weight, the slow accumulation of things that were supposed to make your life better, but mostly just made it heavier. Liveaboards describe this consistently. The boat does not just change where you live, it changes your relationship with consumption entirely. You stop buying things out of habit. You stop keeping things out of guilt. Every item on a boat has to earn its place because there is simply no room for anything that does not. The trade-off is a clarity that is surprisingly hard to find in a house. Less clutter on the shelves means less clutter in the mind. Less maintenance of possessions means more time for everything else. And the freedom that comes from knowing everything you own fits within 30 or 40 feet. That is a feeling that most people who have experienced it say they never expected and cannot fully explain to people who have not. Here is the question worth sitting with. How much of what you own right now is actually making your life better? And how much of it is just there because getting rid of it feels like too much work? Marina life answers that question fast. And most people who go through it come out the other side genuinely grateful it did. Number 2. The marina becomes a small village. And that cuts both ways. People imagine privacy on the water. They picture solitude, the boat as a retreat from the world, a private floating sanctuary where nobody knocks on your door unless invited. The reality is almost the opposite. Marina life is one of the most socially dense environments most people have ever lived in. Your neighbors are not across a yard or down a hallway. They are 8 feet away, sometimes less. And in a marina, everyone notices everything. They notice when you come in late. They notice when your engine sounds different. They notice when you have not moved the boat in 3 weeks and the lines are starting to look a little slack. They notice when you have guests and when you do not. They notice the small things. The lights on at 2 in the morning. The new fender hung on the wrong side. The recycling that missed the bin. This sounds like a warning. In some ways it is. But here is the thing that takes people by surprise. For most liveaboards, that proximity becomes one of the things they value most. The Marina community is unlike any neighborhood most people have lived in. There is a shared experience that binds dock neighbors together in a way that suburban streets almost never do. People help each other. Someone notices your bilge pump running at an odd hour and knocks on the hull to tell you. Someone helps you bring lines in when a storm comes through faster than expected. Someone shows up with tools when you are in the middle of a repair that has gotten complicated. The community is real. The support is real. But so is the lack of anonymity. If you are someone who needs genuine solitude, not just quiet, but actual privacy and distance from other people, Marina life will challenge you in ways you did not anticipate. The boats are close. The community is tight, and the social dynamics of a small dock can occasionally feel more like a family than a neighborhood, with all the warmth and all the friction that implies. The people who thrive in marinas tend to be the ones who lean into it, who learn their neighbors' names, who show up when someone needs an extra set of hands, who understand that the proximity is not an inconvenience. It is actually part of the deal. Drop a comment below and tell me, are you someone who would find that community energizing or exhausting? I genuinely want to know, because the answer tells you a lot about whether marina life is right for you. Number 3. Weather stops being something that happens outside and starts being something that happens to you. This one is hard to fully understand until you have lived it. In a house, weather is scenery. Rain means you stay indoors. Wind means the trees move. A storm means you watch it through the window with a cup of tea and feel vaguely cozy. The house filters it, insulates you from it, makes it beautiful from a distance. On a boat in a marina, weather is personal. Rain is beautiful for about an hour. Then it is 3 days of gray sky. Condensation on every surface. The sound of water finding the one seam you thought was sealed. The humidity that gets into your clothes and your bedding, and the corners of the cabin you cannot quite reach. Rain on a boat is a different relationship than rain on land. It is closer, more present, more demanding of your attention. Wind is the one that surprises people most. A 20-knot wind in a marina means lines straining against cleats, fenders squeaking between hulls, halyards on nearby sailboats slapping against masts in a rhythm that starts as white noise and becomes, at 2 in the morning, deeply personal. Wind moves the boat, not dangerously, but noticeably, enough to feel, enough to hear, enough to keep a light sleeper awake until they learn to sleep with the motion rather than against it. And then there is heat and cold, and the way a fiberglass hull amplifies both. A hot summer day in a marina without air conditioning is a different kind of hot than a house without air conditioning. A cold November night on the water has a damp quality to it that central heating does not fully address. Here is the thing, though. The liveaboards who have been doing this for years will tell you that the weather relationship changes. What starts as a challenge becomes a rhythm. You start reading the water in the morning and knowing what the day will bring. You start understanding wind direction in a way you never did before. You develop a relationship with the natural world that is simply not available to someone living in a climate-controlled house on a fixed foundation. And the calm mornings, the still water mornings when the marina is quiet and the light is coming up pink over the horizon and the only sound is the occasional creak of a dock line. Those mornings are something that no apartment building, no suburban neighborhood, no luxury condominium can replicate. Those mornings are what the people who have lived this life talk about when they try to explain why they would never go back. Weather stops being background. It becomes part of how you live, and for most people who make the adjustment, that turns out to be one of the unexpected gifts of the whole experience. Number 4. Maintenance is not something you do occasionally. It is something you become. This is the one that catches people most off guard. Not because nobody mentions it. They do. But because nobody really explains what it means to live inside the thing you are maintaining. When you own a house, maintenance is an event. Something breaks, you fix it or call someone to fix it, and then you go back to living normally. The maintenance is separate from the living. On a boat, those two things are the same. Boats are in a constant conversation with the environment around them. Salt water is corrosive. Humidity is relentless. UV light breaks down everything it touches. The engine runs in conditions that no car engine ever faces. The electrical systems, the plumbing, the through hulls, the pumps, the batteries, the raw water impellers. All of it requires regular attention, not because something is wrong, but because that is simply the nature of a vessel in a marine environment. And here is what that actually looks like in daily life. You are drinking your morning coffee, and you notice the bilge pump cycled twice in the last hour. Nothing alarming, but worth investigating. You are getting ready for bed, and you check the battery voltage out of habit. You are walking back from the Marina showers on a Sunday morning, and you glance at the water line and notice something that needs attention before the week is out. This is not panic. This is not crisis. This is just the steady, attentive rhythm of boat ownership. The boat asks for your attention regularly, and the people who do well with this lifestyle are the ones who find that rhythm satisfying rather than draining. There is a real reward in it. Liveaboards consistently describe developing practical skills they never expected to have. Electrical diagnosis, plumbing repair, engine maintenance, fiberglass work, knot tying, navigation. The boat becomes a school, and the education never really stops. But, and this is important, if you genuinely dislike maintenance, if the idea of spending a Saturday afternoon tracking down the source of an intermittent leak feels like a punishment rather than a puzzle, marina life will frustrate you in ways that compound over time. The boat will always need something. The question is whether that feels like a burden or a purpose. Most liveaboards who have found their rhythm will tell you it becomes the latter. But it takes time, and it takes a genuine willingness to learn. Number 5. You begin to redefine what success actually means. This is the one nobody really talks about. Not in the practical boat forums, not in the marina horror story videos, not in the listicles about shore power and slip fees, but it might be the most important thing on this entire list. Something happens to people when they live aboard long enough. It is not dramatic. It does not happen all at once. But at some point, usually somewhere in the first year, a quiet shift occurs in what feels important. The things that used to signal success start to feel less significant. The square footage, the car in the driveway, the kitchen renovation, the neighborhood, the stuff that other people can see and measure and compare. Living on a boat removes most of those signals entirely. You cannot impress anyone with your slip. You cannot show off your marina address at a dinner party. The external markers of achievement that most of us spend decades accumulating, they mostly do not apply out here in what fills the space they leave behind. Sunsets, quiet mornings, the sound of water, the satisfaction of fixing something with your own hands, the freedom to move, the ability to choose your view, the conversations with dock neighbors that go long because nobody has anywhere to be, the strange and unexpected peace of a life with fewer things in it. Liveaboards describe this shift in remarkably consistent terms. They care less about appearances and more about experience, less about accumulation and more about mobility, less about what their life looks like to other people, and more about what it actually feels like to live it. It is not always easier than life on land. Nobody who has done it honestly would tell you that. The maintenance is real. The weather is real. The tight quarters are real. There are hard days and frustrating seasons and moments when the dream feels considerably less romantic than the brochure. But for the people who find their footing in this life, and most who commit to it genuinely do, something clarifies that is very difficult to find anywhere else. Time starts to feel like the most valuable thing you own. Slow mornings matter. Sunsets matter. The ability to sit on the aft deck in the evening with nowhere to be, and nothing urgent demanding your attention. That matters in a way that is hard to articulate to someone still living by a different set of priorities. Success starts to look like freedom, like presence, like a life that feels chosen rather than inherited. And once you have tasted that, once you have lived even a few months in a marina and felt what it does to your sense of what matters, it becomes very difficult to go back to the version of life you had before and pretend that version was enough. So there they are. 5 things nobody tells you before you move into a marina. Your stuff becomes irrelevant, and your freedom becomes everything. Your neighbors become closer than family. Whether you want that or not, the weather becomes your daily companion in ways you never anticipated. The boat asks for your attention constantly and rewards you for giving it. And somewhere along the way, the whole experience quietly rewires what success means to you. Now I want to hear from you. Which one of these 5 surprised you the most? Or if you are already living aboard, which one hit closest to home? Drop it in the comments. These conversations are genuinely some of the best on this channel, and I read every single one. And here is the bigger question I want to leave you with today. If you stripped away the square footage, the driveway, the address, and the stuff, what would your ideal life actually look like? Because for a growing number of people, the answer to that question leads them directly to a marina. If this video gave you something real to think about, hit the like button. It helps this channel reach more people who are quietly asking the same questions you are. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell. We are going to keep making videos that take the Liveaboard life seriously. The dream and the reality both. The water is patient. It will be there whenever you are ready. See you in the next one.